Good morning. Okay, yesterday we had a very heated debate, and it was a fun debate. It was interesting hearing all your opinions on the firing of FBI Director James Comey. And it was interesting to see that the people who supported Trump are defending him. And that's all well and good. That is your First Amendment right. Thank God we still have the First Amendment in this country of freedom of speech, freedom to criticize our elected officials, our politicians, when they're not doing a good job, or when they are losing their minds, or when we just don't like them. And what came out of that debate to me was that there are just a lot of people that don't specifically love Donald Trump, but they really hated and hate Hillary Clinton. And I understand that too. Look, I was saying all during the 2016 election that we had the choice of the lesser of two evils, the devil we know and the devil we don't. Hillary Clinton was the devil we know. Trump was the devil we didn't know. And now he is the devil, period. I mean, he is losing his mind. He is putting America in a very embarrassing situation. And it's getting to the point where it's not only embarrassing, it's dangerous. I referred to something I saw last night on Nightly News when Secretary of State Rex Tillerson was with a foreign dignitary, a person who happens to be from Russia. And Andrea Mitchell, a wonderful MSNBC reporter, asked, what about the firing of the FBI director? And the Russian guy is like, he was fired? What? You kidding? What? Putting him in a very weird and awkward situation. And when anybody, even a Russian, comes to visit our country and have meetings with our elected officials, we should not be in this position where they are in an awkward moment because of something the president did. And let's talk for a minute about Hillary Clinton. She was no angel. Trust me, I was on the fence about voting for her as well. I was very excited that we could have our first woman president. I thought that was a big historical thing. I did not like a lot of her policies. I don't like that she wants to give away the baby with the bathwater. She wants to give all this stuff away with my tax dollars. I didn't like that. I don't like that about Democrats in general. Free college education. I mean, seriously? Isn't it bad enough that I have no children and I have to pay for K through 12 for other people's kids? I'm certainly not going to pay for 4 years of college for their other people's kids as well. That's something that you earn through good grades. You get a scholarship, or you save your money, or you work and go to college and pay for it yourself. Or your parents, the ones who are responsible for you, save up money and send you to college. That's how college is supposed to work. So I was not a real tough Hillary supporter. But let's talk about, I want you all to really listen, because I saw some comments yesterday of people saying, well, you know what? Trump is your president, like it or not. And if you don't like it, why don't you just get the fuck out of our country? Leave the country. Come on. That's not right. I don't remember anybody telling people who hated Barack Obama to get out of the country. And please, believe me, I got plenty of crap when I supported Obama. I got all kinds of really horrible things said to me, including the N-word being jolted out there all the time. So, I need to talk to you now, and I need you to listen. Really listen. And then make up your own minds. And I also want to say to Trump supporters out there, do not be afraid to say, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe this guy is not what we thought he was. Because I had to do that with Obama. Because I thought Obama and Obamacare was excellent. I couldn't wait. Finally, everyone in America was going to have health care, and it didn't work out that way, especially for me, because I am now uninsured. I have been priced out of insurance because I am over 50. I smoke legal cigarettes. My husband has a good job. I'm priced out. I'm being overcharged, and I refuse to pay that. I have no health issues. That's why I am priced out. I can't afford health insurance. I can afford it. I just choose not to pay for it since I won't be using it anytime soon. At least not with the $7,500 deductible. You know all that. So it's okay to say you made a mistake. You don't have to keep pushing Trump up and defending him when he does things like what actually happened. And more is coming out about the firing of James Comey. And even James Comey himself, obviously a very good man, wrote a letter to his colleagues yesterday. And he said, look, don't dwell on this. The President of the United States, I serve at his leisure. He has the right to fire me for any reason or no reason at all. It's his right. He took the high road. But now I need to introduce you to someone you might not know all that well. And his name is Rod Rosenstein. Rosenstein. It's been pronounced both ways. He is our deputy attorney general. Now, you don't hear about the deputy secretaries of states and deputy attorney generals and deputy FBI directors very often, because it's the head guys, like Jeff Sessions is our attorney general, top lawyer in the country. But see, Jeff Sessions has a problem with being attorney general. He probably should not have been confirmed in the first place, because Jeff Sessions was a big part of the Trump campaign that is now being investigated by the Justice Department for ties to Russia and Russia interfering with our election, which I don't care. You know, for those of you who yelled at me because I didn't give a shit about who Hillary Clinton emailed or what she did with her server, you guys are telling me you don't care about Russia interfering in our election, but you should. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So again, let's go back to the Attorney General, the top cop of the United States. He had to recuse himself. And what recuse means is he can have no involvement in any investigation into either Hillary Clinton's emails through the Justice Department or Donald Trump's campaign's ties to Russia. He recused himself. And yet, he's all over this. He is all over this firing of James Comey. And let's also make no mistake. And I'm going to connect the dots for you in a second. Rod Rosenstein is the deputy director. It's Jeff Sessions as attorney general. Rosenstein is his deputy. In other words, if Jeff Sessions is gone, Rod Rosenstein becomes the attorney general, our top cop. James Comey, the FBI director, went to Rod Rosenstein, who is not recused. You know, he's supposed to be pure as the driven snow, has no dog in this fight, is supposed to be completely objective. And what James Comey did was he asked Rod Rosenstein for money, more money, to advance the investigation into the Russian influence on our 2016 election. And here's what Rod Rosenstein turned around and did. He went to his boss, Jeff Sessions, again, recused from all of this. And that's important. And he said, yo, Jeff, Comey wants more money. He's going to keep going with this Russia investigation. Guess what Jeff Sessions did? Instead of saying, you know what, Rod, I can't talk to you about this. I've recused myself. Jeff called his buddy Donald in the White House and said, you know what, Comey is like a dog with a bone. He's going to keep going. He wants more money. He's going to keep calling people in. He wants to get to the bottom of this Russian thing. He's not going to let it go. He's not playing ball. And then Trump turned around and went to Rod Rosenstein and said, I need a memo. I know I'm going to fire Comey, but I need a memo from you, the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, to give me a reason. because I need to have a reason to fire Jim Comey. And like all the good little soldiers in the Trump White House who are afraid to say no to this man for fear that they will hear "you're fired," Rod Rosenstein wrote the memo that ended up in the firing of FBI Director James Comey. And now, instead of James Comey testifying in front of Congress, it's his deputy director of the FBI that will be testifying. And how nervous and scared do you think this poor guy is? His boss just got fired because of what he said in front of Congress. He might be a little careful what he testifies to. There might be a lot of things that he just says, you know what, I can't answer that. That's classified. I go, no, that's okay. I can't answer that. Here's what's going to be fun, though. The fun is going to be that James Comey is a private citizen now. But he can still be subpoenaed to testify before Congress. Many private citizens testify before Congress for many different things. Dennis Quaid, the actor, did when his twins were almost killed because of an overdose of heparin, and he got the heparin labels changed. So James Comey could still come back, and James Comey knows where the bodies are buried. I actually am a little afraid for James Comey right now. I hope he is in a secure location. Because if the Russians are truly celebrating James Comey's firing right now, and then they find out that he may still be able to talk about what he knows, well, we all know what happens when someone goes up against Vladimir Putin in his own country. They get poisoned. They end up in the hospital, or they accidentally fall out of 4-story windows while moving bathtubs. I hope we are protecting James Comey right now. He's going to need protection. And I hope at some point he will come to Congress and he will talk. Because here's the other thing. Anyone that is defending Donald Trump right now really needs to understand, and it's the connection of the dots and the lies. First of all, Comey never, not once, especially 3 times, told Donald Trump he was not being investigated by the FBI. That is a lie. And yet Trump put it in his letter when he explained why he was firing James Comey. Well, I'm just so grateful to Mr. Comey for telling me 3 times that the FBI isn't investigating my campaign and Russia. Well, Donald Trump lied in that letter. Because James Comey had just gone, remember, we know this for a fact. This is a fact. He had just asked the Deputy Attorney General for more funding to continue investigating the Trump connection to Russia. So there's a lie. So you may say, well, Hillary lied about her emails. Maybe she did. She probably did it. But she said she was sorry. She made a mistake. Yeah, there's something there. It was awkward. It wasn't pleasant. But it wasn't this. It wasn't embarrassing our Secretary of State in front of a visiting foreign dignitary. It wasn't Donald Trump sitting down with Henry Kissinger yesterday and being asked questions about this, and this guy's just sitting there going, what are we talking about? It's awkward. And then we have the press secretary and the deputy press secretary coming out and bold-faced lying to the American people when they're trying to explain this decision. Lying. They've been caught in the lies. Now look, there's another thing that you need to know about Donald Trump, and I'm talking right now to all of you diehard Republicans that will never vote Democrat. You voted for Trump because he was the Republican candidate for president. Was he? Here is some information about your Republican president that you may not know. He is a fairly new Republican, and I mean really new. Like in 2010, Donald Trump gave money to Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer's re-election campaign. A Democrat, who, by the way, Trump now can't stand, and who is Trump's biggest opposer in the Senate, Chuck Schumer from New York. Trump gave him money in 2010. When did the election process, the candidates start saying they were running for president? 2014, 2015? 2014, right? Just 4 short years before Donald Trump decided he was going to be a Republican, he's giving money. And just a few years, I don't know how many years, I don't know when Donald Trump got married. Wasn't all that long ago. Bill and Hill were invited to his wedding to Melania down at Mar-a-Lago. They had a great time. He supported Hillary Clinton for Senator of New York. He said she was a great Secretary of State. And just a short time later, when he decides to put on his Republican bunny ears, she's evil incarnate. She should be locked up. She's a criminal. Good job, James Comey, for bringing that out 10 days before the election. Thanks for making me president so I could fire your ass when you start investigating me. They hugged in the Oval Office. Comey and Trump did. He's a great dude. Till he asked for money to investigate the Trump campaign for ties to Russia. Then he became evil incarnate, and he had to go. And that is how it all unfolded, my friends. Yes, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. God help us all. And for those of you who defend him, you have every right to do so. I would request, please, that when you comment on these shows that I do, that you do not insult each other. Nobody is wrong for sharing their beliefs with other people and trying to defend something they believe in. That is what I do every day. And you're allowed to beat me up. I'm the host. I'm in charge. I do the shows. I pick the topics. I give you my opinions. You have a right to say you are out of your mind or get the hell out of our country. You can say that to me. But I really wish you wouldn't say it to each other. To people who are courageous and come onto this show and share their opinions. And their names are there. You know who they are. They're not anonymous. They are courageous to come and share their beliefs. And sometimes when you tag somebody, when you actually type in their name or you hit reply and their name shows up, it shows up on their timeline and all their friends and family who are not part of the show see that you just called somebody they care about or one of their friends ignorant or stupid or they need to get out of the country. That's not cool either. So I love the debates. I love the comments. But let's please remember that we are all American. We're all Americans here. We all, I believe, care about our country and our futures and our children's futures and our grandchildren's futures. And let's keep that in mind when we write something here. I like to say if somebody you really admire and care about their feelings about you, if they would read what you typed, would you still hit send? It's a good thing to think about. And remember this, that the whole point of this show is to start a debate, a conversation. And if people feel that by coming onto this show to make comments, they are going to be attacked for their comments, they won't come anymore. And the show will go away. Because without viewers, without you guys, without your great comments, I have no show. And, I've got other things I could be doing, but I really like being here with you every day. So I love the debate. I love that we question each other and we don't just take anything that I say as the gospel. I mean, I'm wrong. Many times I've been wrong about a lot of things. I was wrong about Obamacare when I supported it, and I admit that very openly. I admit that I had problems with Hillary Clinton and some of her policies that she wanted to use my tax money for, my money for. And I don't believe she is the most honest person on the earth. But when I had a choice between her and now what we have ended up with, I'm very proud that I voted for Hillary Clinton. I wish we had had a third choice, a real third choice. Maybe that's what we should be looking at for the future in our elections. It can't just be a Democrat or a Republican. There should be a middle ground. Someone that we can support and feel good about instead of the lesser of two evils, which is what we have seemed to be given the last several election cycles. I wasn't thrilled with the possibility of a President Gore, but I certainly didn't want another Bush. And I certainly was not thrilled with John Kerry. But I also didn't want Bush to have a second term. It seems there's never a real positive attitude when we go to the polls anymore, at least for me. Because when I vote, I'm not voting 100% on somebody that I really trust 100% anymore. With Clinton, I was able to do that. And with Obama, I felt good about my vote. But this time around, it was a little different. And even when people were running against George W. Bush, I wasn't happy with my choice for the Democrat. But I didn't want Bush. And that, it becomes a conundrum. We are all, in my opinion, everyone who, especially my viewers, who I love you guys so much, and you know that, we are all intelligent, proud American citizens. And I think that is what we need to look at when we are debating each other, that at the end of the day, we all care about this country. It's supposed to be the best country in the world, the richest country in the world. And it doesn't feel like that anymore. And it doesn't feel like we are as respected as we should be around the world. And a lot of that now falls on Trump. And if it were happening with Hillary, I'd be saying the very same thing to you today. If all the things that happened since Donald Trump was inaugurated were happening under President Hillary Clinton, I would be just as angry. I would be doing the same show. It doesn't matter who is the president when these scandals come up, when these things that need to be investigated are quashed because people start losing their jobs over it. It doesn't matter if that's a Democrat or a Republican hiding something, lying about things. I would be just as appalled if this was President Hillary Clinton firing people who are investigating her. Which, by the way, the Clintons never did. They were investigated more than any other couple in the history of our country by special prosecutors and attorneys generals, and they did not fire those people to quash an investigation. And the problem is, even though I think Donald Trump is a smart enough man to know that this would raise questions, he did it anyway. And that, my friends, is the scariest thing of all. He knew how this would look, and he didn't care. Because he's the president. And anybody who doesn't like it gets fired. Political Paula, out.